Welcome to Murder and Everything Else. My name is Joy.
And my name is Cheryl. Joy and I are two very old friends who love to talk about murder and everything else.
Well, guess what? We have this crazy snowstorm that is barreling down on us as we speak. Just so you know, this is what it says. It says, winter storm warning remains in effect from 1 o'clock today to 10 p.m. tomorrow. Heavy mixed wintry precipitation expected. And then it goes into, it could be anywhere from 1 inch to 3 inches. Now,
That's what she said.
I just want those of you who live in areas where there's a lot of snow to just, before you start coming for us about 3 inches, remember, we live in a state that traditionally does not get snow. So I think there's like one snowplow up in Boston that has to drive down here. Number two, everybody here doesn't know how to drive in the snow except for a couple people who moved here from Colorado. So then there's that. Number three, don't plan on going to the store to buy supplies because I've been there and there's nothing left. Everyone went to the store and bought everything. And I mean, there's no milk, there's no bread, and there's no eggs. I don't know what people plan on eating that involves milk, eggs, and bread, but it sounds pretty gross. And number four, when your electricity goes out, how are you going to cook those eggs? You're just going to eat cold bread and drink like room temperature milk? I don't know. But anyway, we're supposed to have a snowstorm. I will tell you that in the past, we've been pleasantly surprised where it like dumped what felt like 18 inches. And the kids were out of school for days. And they built gigantic snowmen and sledded for days. We also had a broken leg and during one, because one kid stood up on the sled and was like snowboarding and then wiped out and broke her leg. We've also had school canceled and come home and prepared and then had nothing happen. So it could go either way, but that's what we're dealing with right now. And I have to tell you, it's kind of exciting.
Yeah. Well, by the time this comes out, hopefully you will have bread, milk, and eggs that you couldn't get before. Right. Couldn't you just put the milk outside?
Well, it'll probably freeze. It's like 27 degrees. Also, I really enjoy making bread, so I'm going to do that. I was supposed to do it today, but I didn't. Instead, I ate bread. And what?
Can you lay an egg?
Yeah, that's right. I bought eggs, so we've got plenty of eggs, but I suppose if we needed milk, I could use breast milk. Although I probably won't tell anyone in the family because not like they'd notice. Hey, these brownies taste better than usual. That's because they're made with breast milk. And for those of you who think that's absolutely disgusting, don't knock it till you tried it. I have some updates today. And the update I have is our male listening ship has dropped significantly down to 3%. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. What had it gotten up to?
We got up as high as like almost 15%.
Oh, wonder what happened.
So I don't know. We scared off our male listeners around the holidays. They haven't bounced back. But I'm here to also say that the 23 to 27 demographic is on the board. So just so you know, the 45 to 59 demographic makes up 98.7% of our listening audience, followed by the 23 to 27-year-old listening audience. So thank you to the 23 to 27-year-olds out there who are making us an important part of their podcast.
That's awesome.
Very nice. 98.7%, Cheryl. That's a lot of 45 to 59-year-olds. But you know what? We got to give the people what they want to hear.
Two old
right?
ladies.
2.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, speak for yourself. I happen to be somebody who's in a different age category. You know what they say, like 35 to 44, check this box. 45 to 54, check this box. I'm pretty sure we're in different boxes.
You act like we're like 15 years apart. But it is incredible when you start, you continue to go up and up and up in that when you have to check off an age range. I'm the last one that just says 45 plus. You know, all the other ones has a range, and then
Yeah.
it's just, and then the rest of you. So that I'm checking off, and the rest of you.
And the rest of you. That's good. So I have a couple of updates besides the one about the men running away from our podcast. And that is one, I am going to start some get ready with me videos on TikTok for women of a certain age, like Cheryl always likes to say. So if you're a woman of a certain age and you want to see like a middle-aged woman like squeeze her faux pas into some stretchy pants, head on over to TikTok and you'll get to watch those. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the Emmy Awards were the other day. And by the other day, I'm not going to say they were last week because by the time you listen to this, it'll be more than last week.
Mhm.
But Baby Reindeer won a bunch of Emmy Awards. It actually won blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it won a bunch of awards, which is really exciting. I was really happy that Jessica Gunning won the Golden Globe Award as Best Supporting Actress. I was really happy that the guy who wrote it, of course, I can't remember his name now,
Gad.
Richard Gadd, that he was also a winner. But the unemployed Scottish lawyer, Fiona Harvey, who is suing Netflix for 130 million pounds over what she says are multiple lies in Baby Reindeer, has slammed the stars celebrating at the glitzy award ceremony. She noted with relish that Richard Gadd had not won the Best Actor award. And she spoke to Mail Online. She's 59. She said, Gadd lost Best Actor, didn't he? He can't act. He can't be a comedian. He didn't write the show. A number of Netflix writers wrote the show. And I think the media should concentrate on who is the rapist. She said, I'm not the rapist. I'm just stuck in the middle of all the bloody, this feeling, ghastly and physically sick. She said that Miss Gunning, who portrays her, said she is a crap actress. I think she knew exactly what she was doing, a woman sitting there vilifying another woman who has done nothing. I'm not very happy about this at all. So the show won Best Television Limited Series, beating Disclaimer, the Lyle and Eric Menendez story, Monsters, The Penguin, Ripley, and True Detective, Night Country. So anyway, she went on to say that Baby Reindeer's a lie. She put her life on hold for a year. She can't do that anymore. And she's going forward with her lawsuit. So I just thought it was very interesting. For those of you who've been listening to us for a while, we did an episode on Baby Reindeer at the beginning of season 2. So if you haven't heard that, you can go back and listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. Anyway, Cheryl.
Can I just comment on one thing? The people have to remember, I know she's mad, but the lady who played her, she's an actress. That's her job. It's just like when Gypsy Rose had a comment about Joey
Buttafuoco?
King, Joey King, who played her in I think it was Hulu's limited series. She had something to say about that actress. People, that's just their job. I mean, don't come for the actresses. They're just doing, just trying to make a paycheck.
Cheryl, I mean, because you are Nurse Armstrong in The Bold and the Beautiful. That's hard work. And also, I don't have to, I'm not the only person. Obviously, the people who give out the Emmys felt this as well. Jessica Gunning Girl, I don't know about you, but she was amazing. You know who she reminded me of? I thought about this later. Kathy Bates in Misery.
Oh
She was
yeah.
phenomenal.
Oh, she was great.
She was pathetic, she was scary, she was alarming, she was terrifying. She was also gut-wrenching. So there are so many
Hmm.
different things that she did in that whatever little series or show or whatever you want to call it. That uh that show.
Movie?
Yeah. That no, that Netflix did. She was amazing. So I'm sorry, she's not a crap actress. She's
Oh
amazing.
no, that's just somebody being stupid.
Anyway, Cheryl, you got any shout outs?
Oh,
I'm
no, we're
sorry,
on update.
updates.
I just, by the time this comes out, I mean, it better be contained, but I just, my heart belongs to California and they've had these awful fires. And I just want to give my condolences to people who have lost someone or lost their homes. And just some crazy shit was happening. I was listening. Well, as when this comes out, it's going to be a couple weeks old, but there was an alert sent out to the entire LA County to be prepared to evacuate, which of course people were panicking and freaking out and calling the news stations. And I was watching this one channel, and they were like, yeah, people from areas that are not even close to a fire are asking us if this is real. Well, it turned out to be an error of
Whoa.
yeah, of just, immense proportions. Like they're like, oh, oops. A few minutes later, it was like, just disregard that. And it's kind
Wow.
of like, and then people, I heard today that people were turning off their notifications, which you don't want to do that either. But it kind of sucks when you feel like you can't trust. Do you
Right.
remember a few years ago when that alert came out that there was a missile headed for Hawaii, and my
Yeah.
family's in Hawaii, and I freaking freaked out as I would be expected to, and that was an error. So it's kind of like, well, heads need
Except
to roll.
imagine how exciting it would be if it was like an alien spacecraft.
Yeah, but you be able to trust the sources. But it's pretty maddening that happened. But anyway, when this comes out, I really hope that everything's under control. It's hard to watch the mayor talking about rebuilding, and the fires aren't even contained yet, and she's talking about
Oh,
rebuilding, and it was really uncomfortable and to watch because I feel like she's put I don't like having to be in charge of damage control, and that's what she has. She's the mayor. Um, and she's saying all these words, you know what I mean, that she thinks sound good, but
mhm.
to me it's kind of like off key. Like how as today as we record this, like I said, when it comes out, it better be contained 100%. But as we are recording this, it's only about 8% in one of the fires. There's like
Wow.
5 fires going on and all these other ones popping up. And to
That's
me,
great.
it's kind of, it's just off. It's just really in poor taste to start talking about rebuilding. Some people are still struggling with, I mean, there were people who had to evacuate and didn't even know if their homes were still there. And she's already talking. It just was it doesn't sound right. But I understand she has to say something. And I would just hate to be in charge of damage control for all of
Right.
that, because like some of the hydrants didn't have water, or there was not enough pressure for the firefighters. And then, things have just gotten crazy with our technology and stuff, because there was a drone, and I haven't found out yet. Maybe by the time this comes out, they'll find out who it was, but whoever it was, you're going to be in big trouble. But someone was flying a drone and it clipped the wing of one of those there's a name for them, those planes that drop the solution to it's not just water, but it's some kind of chemical to douse the fire. It clipped the wing of one of these planes, and the plane had to land and it couldn't take off. So they were one plane short. So people, use your freaking heads, don't complicate the firefighters and emergency people's day. So
Yeah,
they
I
were
think they're
short.
called firefighting planes.
No, there's a
I think
name for.
I think they're called super scoopers.
Yeah, no, there's something like scoopers.
Super scoopers.
Somebody will write in and correct us.
Yeah, since no one has ever written in to correct us before, please, except one time when I said that a woman died from prostate cancer. That's the only time. So please, please, somebody write in and correct us, because you know what? We're probably just making shit up as we go. Just
It's
flying by the seat of our pants.
it's not a super scooper. Okay.
Rolling on to shout outs. For those of you who've been listening for a while, you know I really enjoy fashion. And I have a couple of things. One is I have a shout out for those of you who love the kind of style and fashion that you see at sites like Zara or not Celine, Zara, Cezanne, Aritzia. I'm just here to tell you that you can go to stores like TJ Maxx and Marshalls and find those brands at a discounted price. I found this really cute wool coat. Zara wanted like $150 for it. I found it at Marshall's for $20. You can actually look really cute and stylish on a budget. Also, I have a shout out for fashion glasses. If you want to change the way you look and elevate your look to like a little edgier, a little funkier, you can go out there and buy for like $7 to $10 a pair of cute plastic frame, like print or plain colored glasses, and it changes your whole look. So that's a little fashion tip from moi. And also, the last thing I want to shout out is I know I have a lot of shout outs because it's a new year.
Elena's going to be cringing when she listens
Yeah,
to
sorry,
this.
Elena. But I just have to shout out a podcast that I am loving so much. And it's called Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. Every other episode, they interview somebody who is not famous. And those are the episodes that are comedy gold. And I just love them. I've never been a huge Conan O'Brien fan, but I have to thank my friend Jill for turning me on to this podcast. Hey, Jill, I love this podcast. I am in the car driving and laughing so hard sometimes that I have to like slow down because he's so freaking funny. That's all I'm going to say. To me, he is such a comedy genius. So anyway, Cheryl, what
Well,
about you? You got any shout outs?
I just want to say for people that already know about that show, it's not a new show. It's new to Joy and me. But it's been on like what, 5 years, you said?
Yeah. And they release more than one podcast a week, which I find so staggering. I mean, obviously, they have a team of people. That's what they do. But our team of people struggles to get one out a week. So there.
Right. Well, I want to shout out the courteous, extremely courteous people I ran into at the gas station a few days ago. I've never seen anything like it. I've never witnessed anything like it. There's a certain etiquette with the doors to a facility, to an establishment. You kind of, if there's someone right behind you close, you kind of want to hold it for them. You
Yeah.
you hold it, and then when you're coming through, you kind of touch it. Even if you may not have to hold it open, you need to at least make contact as a gesture of, oh, thank you. Because the worst is when you hold it for someone and they just walk through that. But everyone was holding it for each other. And there was this one gentleman that was being courteous to a fault. It was kind of like, you're going to have to let go at some point or else you're going to be here all day. Like there was no cutoff. He just kept holding it for everybody that kept walking through. But I've never seen anything like it. I have never seen anything like it that it warranted me mentioning it on my podcast, our podcast, as a shout out. on our podcast as a shout out, because I've never seen such courteousness, if that's a word.
Guys, if I go missing, you'll know. You heard it here. But she said my podcast.
It's foreshadowing.
That's
Anyway,
right. If you smell muriatic acid coming from my house,
send help.
This week we are going to go back to an oldie but a favorite, and it's Am I the Asshole? This is take 2. We did
By popular demand of your hosts. Your hosts.
We did Am I the Asshole back in season 2. Was that season 2, Cheryl? I feel like it was at the beginning of season 2. We did Am I the Asshole? We had some great questions, some from Reddit, some from Cheryl's personal life. Turns out she's an asshole a lot. Anyway, we're back with Am I the Asshole? Take 2. And so I'm going to turn it over to Cheryl because you know what? She's wearing the pants on this one.
Okay, actually, and just for reference, it was season 1, episode 29. We did an Am I the Asshole? That's how long ago it was. It was in July of 2023. Man, time flies, huh? Okay, this is one of my favorite things, y'all, is the Am I the Asshole? I have a really short one just to warm us up. It's a little softball one, as they say. So, Joy and listeners, am I the asshole for leaving my doctor's office after waiting for an hour? That's my question. I'm not gonna. There's nothing more to it.
Okay. Had you already seen the medical assistant?
No. So this was for the results of my blood work that had been taken like 2.5 months.
Right. But usually somebody greets you. They make you weigh yourself.
Oh,
they check your. They check
force
your.
Me. By gunpoint.
Pressure.
They had me.
They come in, they do the rectal probe, and then usually you have to lay down and take all your clothes off.
Yes.
Had you already done that stuff?
Yes. So I waited in the parking lot, in the waiting room, and the receptionist looked over at one point.
Your doctor sees you in the parking
in the back of my car.
Am I an asshole for meeting my doctor in a parking lot? And then we do the exam in the back of my car.
So the receptionist looked over at me in the waiting room. She goes, "Oh, by the way, she's running late. It's going to be about 20 minutes." And already I was annoyed. So I said, "Okay." And I waited and I waited and I waited. And maybe half an hour later, the rectal probing assistant took me in. And
did you get out, stand up naked off the table, go out in the hallway and go, "Can I take this out of my rectum?"
God. She took me in. She forced me by gunpoint to weigh myself. And then I went in the room. And one of the things which annoyed me even more was the number on the scale, first of all. So it really did. I was already irritated that it was like half an hour later. Half an hour is not that bad. I get it, every one of you going, "Come on, 30 minutes." But she weighed me, which I hate. And then, and I know you recommended just saying, "Can we skip it?" But I really needed to be brave and see how much the holidays did to me. Anyway, and she's all chipper, this medical assistant rectal probing woman. And she says, "Oh, so busy. It's so busy. I like it because my day is going fast." And I'm thinking, and you're not going to mention the fact that you're way behind and like apologize. You know what I mean? Like those small little gestures mean a lot. Like, "I'm really sorry we're behind." She's like, "Oh, I just love being this busy." And I'm like,
well, she's busy.
Now,
meanwhile, you're going to have to sit there and pick your ass for an hour.
So and then here's the thing. I know you all know this. You're in the waiting room and you're getting antsy because they're behind. Then the person comes out to take you in and you suddenly feel like so hopeful. You're like, "Yes, I'm getting closer to the finish line." You know what I mean? You're like, okay, you like your whole demeanor changes. And then you're in the waiting room and it's tick, tick, tick. So she's gotten that part. because they have that whole system, right? You're like cattle. It's like you're put into room 1, 2, and 3, and not until somebody leaves one of those rooms can they take the next one in. But just because you're in that room does not mean it's gonna. So I sat there for another half hour, and I was like, I gotta use the bathroom. And I went to the bathroom, and I thought, I'm done. So I did turn into a tad bit of a Karen. I really, all I said was, I've been waiting for an hour. I can't wait any longer. So can
Yeah.
you have her just email me or call me? And one of the ladies, there's two people behind the desk. She's like, I looked at her and I go, did you guys overbook? I mean, I couldn't help. What's wrong? There's nothing wrong with me saying that. Did you overbook? And she said, no, she's just running behind. I go, she's behind an hour. I go, I can't wait. And I walked out. And I have yet to.
I gotta just say, I don't think you're an asshole. I think that is completely within your right. And if I had been the receptionist or the person in charge of checking people out or whatever, I would have reached out to you or the office manager and just said, we understand you had to leave the other day, and we know that like our patients have other, busy schedules, and we apologize. We got behind and it was really hard for us to catch up. I get it. It's a new year. People are putting stuff off until, new deductible, whatever. But I just was thinking that I wanted to make a suggestion. So sometimes when I put one of the little girls down to nap, she doesn't really nap every day. She only naps like one day out of the week now because she's getting older, but it's good for her to have quiet time and rest time. But one of the things she does when she doesn't want to nap is she sings at the top of her lungs. And so she lays in her bed and I have to turn the monitor down and she's head and shoulder, knees and toes. And then when she's done with that, she sings raindrops and roses. And so I'm just thinking that if you had started singing at the top of your lungs to pass the time, there is a really good chance that they probably would have prioritized your room above some of the other patients' rooms and come to see you first. And you probably wouldn't have had to wait an hour. So next time you go in, I think you should try that.
Okay. Noted. I will keep that in my back pocket.
Okay.
Oh, goodness. Okay. So, Joy, you're going to share one with us, right?
Oh.
An am I the asshole situation.
Am I the asshole? Okay.
Take it away. Take it away.
So, a beloved family member has made sure to notify all of family that they are vegan. They don't eat any dairy or any animal byproducts. They don't eat anything that has had a mother or a father. They just eat like plants and nuts and legumes and beans and, tofu and crap like that. But they're coming to my house for Thanksgiving and I'm doing all of the cooking. So what I've done is I have made several dishes that accommodate the requests of the special family guests. And so the dressing only has vegetables and it has vegetable broth instead of chicken broth. And the corn souffle.
The dressing is made of vegetables?
Well, it comes out of a box, but it says to add like chicken broth. So I add like vegetable broth instead and like sauteed vegetables. And the corn souffle, instead of putting butter in it, I used olive oil because butter is, an animal byproduct. And, so you get the idea. Like I've made some accommodations. However, the family members have requested that we not have a turkey because, they don't like the smell of cooked meat and they don't want to see a dead animal on the table. And so I feel like that's kind of going too far. It's my house and I'm the person who's hosting the meal. So in retaliation, I went back and I put meat in all the dishes. No, I'm kidding. I didn't do that. So I just let them know that, but I ground it up so that they wouldn't recognize it. No, so I let them know that there would definitely be a turkey, but we ordered it from a grocery store, like one of those places where they make the food ahead of time. So they don't have to worry about it permeating the air in the house and they don't have to smell it cooking. But we'll definitely be having some turkey and maybe some
Mm.
ham or some chicken or some salmon or something. But
Mm-hmm.
they're welcome to eat around it and eat the side dishes and avoid the turkey.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're considering not coming to my house for Thanksgiving because they are vegan and they don't want to witness other people eating the meat. And so, am I the asshole for saying, well, you're welcome to stay home?
Absolutely not. I'm sorry. I don't know who this is, but they're the asshole for sure, not you. That is completely out of line. I'm sorry. So, any guest or any friend or anywhere that they would go for any type of celebration or gathering has to abide by this rule, or do they only associate themselves with people that don't have poultry wafting through the air? I mean, how do they
I'm
live
not
their lives?
I'm not really sure. I'm really not sure, but I will say, have
Wow.
you ever noticed that I don't know if you have a lot of friends who are vegan, but have you noticed that vegan people tend to identify themselves as being vegan within the first 15 minutes of a conversation? So if
No, I
you
don't.
meet somebody new that you've never met before and they're vegan, you will probably find out in the first 15 minutes that they're vegan.
Wow, I did not know about this situation. So, did they come?
Yes, they did every
Oh,
year.
interesting. Do they listen to our podcast? Because I just called them assholes.
Nope, nope, they don't. They sure don't.
Listen, I myself have thought of becoming vegetarian, not vegan. I don't think I can go that far. And I would never expect anyone. First of all, the fact that you bent over backwards to make all these vegan dishes, because sometimes people, when I was a vegetarian a long time ago in the 90s, a long time ago in a land far, far away, I never expected any. I would go to a function or a party or whatever, and I would make do with something, take out the meat, da 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 da. But I know people are super, especially if they're vegan, you can't even have the stuff touching the other stuff. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So,
Oh,
um,
yeah.
but that is completely out of line as a way to live. That you made all these other dishes, especially for them. You could have just saved yourself the trouble and said, "This is what we're having. You can work around and pick out this, what you can't eat."
Right?
But you went above and beyond, and I'm just curious how they live their lives elsewhere. You can't be asking people to do that. That's incredible. That's like you going to their place and saying, "Listen, we're not coming unless you have a turkey on the table."
Right? You can buy like purses and shoes that are vegan. And every
Hmm.
time I see something out in the store, something that's vegan, and I'll say to my husband, it's vegan. And he'll say, oh, you mean you can eat it? It's pretty funny.
Wow. We're going to have to talk more about this offline because I
Right.
am dying. Okay. What do you guys think about our first two? Those are our personal Am I the Asshole situations. I am going to now ask Joy a few questions, a few situations that I got from Reddit. The first one is, am I the asshole for lying to my husband? And a couple of these are from the holidays. On New Year's Day, 2 days ago, okay, when she writes this, it was 2 days past New Year's. We had biscuits and gravy for breakfast. My husband was telling me he wanted me to be more firm with him about things he procrastinates about. Today, I made biscuits and pulled out the leftover gravy. He then got on to me about how I know he doesn't like leftovers and he'll just make something else. Then he proceeded to ask Alexa how long gravy is good for, and she says 2 to 3 days, depending. So he goes, "See, Even she says it's bad. So I tell him I'll make new gravy, but I didn't. I reheated the old gravy. So once he was finished, once he was finished eating, he dug through the trash to see if the gravy was in there and yelled at me for lying to him. This is one of those things he procrastinates about. He says all the time he needs to get better about eating leftovers. No, she says, I also work in food and am food safety certified at the manager level for my state. So I know proper storage safety and definitely if food is good or not. I realize I shouldn't have lied, but then I'm wasting food and doing extra work and not doing what he asked me in the first place about trying to help him get better at eating leftovers. So she asks, am I the asshole?
Ooh, this is a good one. Okay, first of all, I just have to say, if you're a grown ass man and you expect your wife to make, or your significant other to get their ass up and make fresh gravy because you don't like eating ones that have like a film on the top that's been in the fridge for 3 days, then get your ass up and do it yourself. Because I'm sorry, here's how it works in most people's houses. There's usually somebody who's the designated dinner maker, and then the rest of the family shows up and they eat the food and they shut the fuck up and they eat it and they say thank you, and then they take their plate to the sink and then they rinse it off, put the dishwasher. And if you have the balls to say I don't like this, or it's disgusting, or I don't eat leftovers, or it's too old or whatever, then you probably should have hurried to come home and make dinner first. So I don't think the wife is the asshole. I think the husband is an entitled prick. So
well,
there.
but he at one point he said, I'll just eat something else. Should she have let him eat something else?
Well, sure. I would have been like, I'm going to enjoy these biscuits and gravy and you can eat something else. And then I would have taken this, put it on the floor and made him watch the dog eat his dinner.
Well, it was for breakfast. So she was making breakfast. But anyway, so you don't think she just should have just said, okay, fine, go eat what you want. See, there's this whole sub topic going on where he had said he wanted to be better about eating leftovers. And I think that's where that came in, where she didn't just say, yeah, eat something else. She was trying to help him by helping him to eat leftovers. But anyway, right. She's not the asshole. Yeah.
But no, I don't think she's the asshole at all. If anything, like maybe he should hurry his ass home so he can make the gravy. Or maybe he should have gotten up a half hour earlier so he could make the gravy.
Right.
And also, okay. I call bullshit on people who are like, but I don't know how to make gravy. It's called the internet. It's literally got everything on there. And yet the questions that I'm asked sometimes, it's like my hand to my face. I'm like, right. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Like, yeah. Anyway.
Well, I think my question is, why did he wait till after he ate to go look in the trash can? But that's an aside. You know what I mean? He ate and then he went to see if she had thrown out the old gravy. All right. Now rolling on to number 2. Am I the asshole for refusing to visit his family on Christmas? And there's more to it than what it sounds like. So I, a 27-year-old female and another year responsible for all the planning and gifting during Christmas. Doesn't that happen to mostly all couples? Somehow the wife now has to take over both sides.
Yeah.
So that's a whole nother, we can discuss that. Okay, so it's kind of a little bit of a long one. My fiance's family thinks that we treat visits to my family as more important, which is not true. We visit them much more often. That's true, visit her family, but that's because they invite us to events in advance. That's something that my fiance's family never does. They just assume we will show up on our own. We've explained many times that we won't because we already don't have much free time. So if they want to see us, they just have to invite us and we can plan it. Plan seems to be the operative word. My fiance, 26-year-old male, did not put any effort into planning visits or any gifts on Christmas since we met 3 years ago. So last year, I made it extremely clear. Next year, I will make plans on my own for us. If you want to take part in it, you can, but if you won't, then I'll assume you're okay with anything I planned. And of course, he was okay with it. This year, I did not get any invitation from his family nor him, not a single word about organizing anything. I knew I could ignore them completely. I don't know if that's really a good assumption, but she says, I knew I could ignore them completely based on our last year's agreement, but I knew it wouldn't be fair. She makes this agreement with him. He says, fine, but she also knows in the back of her mind, just, out of caution, whatever. So she calls, she says, I called his family and invited us to their Christmas Eve gathering, which they assumed we would have shown up for anyway. Okay, but that's Christmas Eve. She's going to go to his family's house. But for the rest of the days, I planned all with my family and relatives. Today, she writes this on December 23rd. She says, today he informed me that we are invited to his family's on Christmas, 2 days before Christmas. The drive is 2 hours away. I said, no, we have plans. He got really mad and said that it's not fair that my family gets 3 visits and his family only 1. I reminded him about our talk last year, but he said I should confirm my plans with him anyway. I told him that he could have asked, and I'm not going anywhere. He can go himself, but it will not sit well with me, and there will be consequences for our relationship. Am I the asshole?
Okay, this may be a controversial topic. Yeah, but I just have to say that this couple sounds like they have terrible communication. Seriously, that is such bad communication. First of all, now she's leveraging him seeing his family. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of resentments here. She resents him for not helping her, and he resents her for keeping him from his family.
No, but this is only this year. See, she drew the line. So after being with him for 3 years, she told him, your family needs to plan this in advance. They can't just drop it on me, because she has family on her side. So she made this agreement with him going forward. If your family doesn't plan anything in advance, I'm planning stuff for us. And she even reached out to his family and said, well, can we come over for Christmas Eve? And they were like, of course, we thought you were coming anyway. So
yeah, but I feel like they have really poor communication, and now they're just doing things to be vindictive to each other. So personally, also it doesn't sound like his family's very fun.
I don't know.
I'm kind of reading between the lines, but I will say this. No, she's not an asshole, because she already laid down the law and said what we're doing and how we're doing it. And he didn't plan anything, so he doesn't really get a say. And if he goes to his families without her, then they have the rest of their lives to talk about how that was the one Christmas that they didn't spend together. But something tells me that they probably won't spend very many Christmases together after that Christmas, because they're probably headed for Splitsville.
Yeah, I just find this one really common. I think it's very common for a lot of people. Not you, because you have the perfect marriage. But I think okay, I can speak from my own personal experiences, and I would really love for people to give us their feedback on this. Have you, and I'm sure you know this situation, Joy, where a person's habits and personality. So you put your foot down and you say, going forward, whatever the subject may be, going forward, this is how it has to be handled, because you're the one in charge, yet they're coming in at the last minute and screwing everything up. So you're like, this is what we're doing going forward, right? And then like with her, she told him, if your family doesn't plan it in advance, we're doing what I plan. And he said, okay. But then 2 days before he drops this on her, oh, my family wants you to come over for Christmas now. She's like, what the fuck? I said we'll go over for Christmas Eve, so I made plans for Christmas. Now, should she have, because I'm sure there are people out there, and I've been in the situation, should she have known, I know it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen, and then managed it that way, knowing that this was going to come in
No,
at the,
no. I think that she should go ahead with her plans and he should go ahead and decide what he wants to do with his family. And like I said, they may have to spend this holiday apart, but I think it is a really good indication of however many holidays down the road they'll be spending apart too, because this is a huge, huge, huge lack of communication. And also, he's being completely tone deaf. And if he had half a brain, he would talk to his family and go, listen, I have half a brain and
I have a
I
marriage. I'm
and
in a
I have
marriage
a
now,
marriage and I have to support my wife. And
a
I just
fiance.
let you guys know that we're not going to be showing up for Christmas. And I know it's going to be disappointing to you, but you're going
But
to have to
next
get over
year,
it. But next year we'll
next year,
plan better and this won't happen.
yeah. Well, yeah. Okay, so that's interesting. Um, so she's not an asshole for not going to
No,
his Christmas.
I
Yeah,
don't think she's an asshole at all. If
I
anything,
don't think so
I think
either.
he's an asshole. I think his family's assholes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Rolling on to the next one. Am I the asshole for telling my mother-in-law that my sister-in-law is rude for expressing that she will exchange the Christmas gifts given? So I'm sure we all, or some of us, know someone like this. My sister in law has a tendency to exchange gifts that are given to her or her family if they don't meet what she expects. One year, she asked for a makeup set I used because she liked how it looked on me. Then, when I splurged and got her one, she said it was too complicated for her to use, so she returned it and got credit. Another time, I bought her son sweatpants and shirts that she said he needed. I went to Target and got a few pairs. When he opened them, he said thank you, but she later said he doesn't wear stuff from Target because it tends to be cheap quality and breaks easily, and she wanted the receipt to exchange them. I didn't save the receipts because honestly, they are just children's clothes, and I was sure they would fit. So I didn't bother. She said they'd probably take them back anyway, and that I shouldn't get clothes from there in the future because they aren't any good. Target, don't sue us. I'm just reading someone else's comment. Due to numerous instances like this, my husband and I started giving her son money instead and agreed as adults not to give each other gifts anymore. Amen. I hate gifting money. She hates gifting money as it seems thoughtless, which I don't agree with. So last year I thought I'd include a shirt from his favorite store. I got him a color I thought would look good on him, like a dark orange. He got the gifts and thanked us for them and seemed happy. My sister-in-law later asked for the gift receipt because he doesn't wear that color. He wears usually black, blue, or gray. I had enough and said I chose that color because I thought it would be nice for him and that if he didn't want to wear it, he could buy what he liked with the money. It irked me, though, that she was criticizing a gift. And when we were driving home in the car later with his mom in the back, she mentioned it too. Her mother in law mentioned it too, and how her daughter can be so particular. So I agreed, but added that it's very rude to criticize gifts in front of the person gifting, and that I was taught to appreciate the thought. My mother in law got quiet and seemed upset with what I said. So maybe I overstepped. Was I being an asshole?
No, you're never an asshole for like stating how something makes you feel and then defending it. I believe that. Here's the thing. Some people really like to return stuff. I know that because I love to return things. And everybody in my family has learned that when they buy something like a present, they'll say to keep the receipt and they'll say, "Don't worry, mom, I have the receipt." Or "Don't worry, sweetheart, I have the receipt so that you can return it and exchange it for something else if you want." Because I love returning things. That having been said, I actually feel very close to this situation because I had a parent that considered returning things rude. When I asked her for a receipt once, she said, "No, I think it's rude when people return things." And I said, "Well, I think it's practical because why waste your money to buy something for somebody that they are not going to use because it's the wrong size or they don't like it or it doesn't match their color scheme, et cetera, et cetera." So I think people need to maybe step away a little bit from that process and not take it so personally. You know what I mean? Like in this situation, I feel like the woman is not an asshole for what she said to her mother-in-law. It was a genuine emotional response that she had to what her sister-in-law does. On the other hand, she needs to keep in mind that her sister-in-law probably just returns everything and just ignore her. And also, I would never buy anyone in her family anything again. I would just give them gift cards.
Yeah.
Literally.
Well,
And if she doesn't like the gift cards, I'd say, well, then I'm sorry, we're not going to be giving you gifts anymore. So I have learned that I would much rather spend my money on something that somebody wants that they've actually selected themselves. So I feel like we have to like remove ourselves from taking like people's personal tastes and finding offense with it. You know what I mean? Like that woman clearly loved to return stuff. She had an opinion about Target clothes, about colors, about textures, about shit being cheaply made. It's like whatever. But I'll tell you right now that if she bought something for the kid at Target, it probably was $30 or less. If you felt like it was cheaply made, good luck taking your $30 and buying something that's better made somewhere else because you're going to pay twice as much money somewhere else, you know? So
right.
her excuses for returning things kind of fall on deaf ears because you can buy cheaply made things at Target, just like you can buy well-made things, just like you can buy cheaply made things at Old Navy. And well, I have a sweatshirt that I bought at Old Navy 100 years ago that is still one of my most favorite sweatshirts ever.
Well, listen, anyone out there who wants to send me a gift, send me an Amazon gift card. I am so into gift cards. I truly believe
Yeah.
that people can just buy what they want. But let me just point out something. The issue, you make very good points about the gifts themselves, but I want to hone in on this part of her question or her situation. So she's in the car with her mother-in-law, right? And her mother-in-law even says that her own daughter is very particular, right?
Right.
And so she agrees and added that it's very rude to criticize gifts in front of the person gifting. And
Right.
this is the part. This is the part. She's telling her mother-in-law, she says, and I was taught. Now, who do you think she was taught by? Her parents, right? So
By her
she's telling
mother.
them exactly. So she's telling her mother-in-law, my mom taught me to appreciate the thought. And that's when her mother-in-law got quiet.
Yeah,
So
but I will say this though, Cheryl. I was also taught that when you open a gift, you say thank you and you're appreciative. And if you don't like it, you don't show the gift giver how you felt about it for real, even if you hated it. When we were kids, we had to say thank you so much. I love it. And it didn't matter what it was. There was a certain way that you reacted. And that's great. I think it's very, very nice to say, thank you so much. I love it. But the fact of the matter is you're not going to love everything. You're not going
no,
to,
but
and then
do
the other thing is,
you don't think her mother-in-law took it as you didn't raise your kid right?
nah, if I were the mother-in-law, I would say, well, I raised my daughter to say thank you and accept it. But unfortunately, she's cuckoo birds. I mean, I don't
Well, you have a stronger constitution because I think that was the problem when
know.
she told her that she was taught when she tells the
But the
mother-in-law.
mother-in-law is the one who said that she doesn't like that her daughter's always returning shit.
Yeah, but you can say that about your own husband or son or daughter or mother, but somebody else can't,
You know
right?
what? I gotta tell you, I have another Am I the Asshole?
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay. So I have lots of cute items and I lost like 30 pounds. So I couldn't wear those items because they were the wrong size. So what I did was I donated them to an organization that hosts like this garage sale. And then anyone in the community can come to the garage sale. And then the money that's made, the proceeds go to a good cause, right? A charitable 501c3 nonprofit, whatever, whatever.
Okay.
So I went to the sale with a friend and I went to about like to the rack of all these items, let's say 30 or 40 items. And I said, and my friend said, I really want to elevate my wardrobe. And I said, well, I donated all these items. They're really nice, really cute, really trendy, and I can't wear them anymore because I lost like 30 pounds. Maybe you should go through these items and maybe you'll find something you like. And my friend got offended and said, I can't believe you're calling me fat.
Oh gosh.
So, am I the asshole for telling them to buy some clothes that I donated to a garage sale because I lost 30 pounds so I can no longer wear them? Hence, they're my fat clothes. Or should I just said, hey, you're fat. You could wear these old fat clothes of mine.
I'm sorry. I don't know. I can't say that you're an asshole because I know you were just being honest, but I can understand. You might have just left out the I lost 30 pounds part and just say, would this work for you? Do you want to look through the stuff I just.
Well, she asked me, why did you donate all your clothes? And I said, well, I lost 30 pounds. I mean,
Oh, okay.
it was
Oh,
like
that's
a
on
larger,
her.
it was a larger
No.
conversation.
Okay, no, that puts a different light on it. I thought you were just like, how about you check out these clothes that I
How about
used
you
to wear
check
when
out
I
these
was
fat,
30?
fat bitch floppy ass clothes that I can't wear anymore because your big old food pocket squeezed into them? No, of course I wouldn't say that.
But that's how you said it. So that's how.
I mean, come
Well,
on.
she asked. Okay,
First of
she
all,
asked.
it's
Fair
like if
game. You're not the asshole. She asked why you weren't wearing it anymore. You know
right.
what would have been bad is if she asked, why aren't you wearing these anymore? And you're like, I'm not wearing this ugly ass shit. Do you want it?
Exactly.
So that puts a whole different light. Oh my God. These situations are so awesome. I really hope people write in and tell us what they think
People
about these
are
questions.
so like, first of all, and then, but the best part was she didn't tell me that I offended her for like a month or two. And then she confronted me like 2 months later after I hadn't heard from her. And I was like, did I say something to offend you? And then she was like, well, you said that thing about your fat clothes. And I was like, what?
Oh God.
And
We're
then
gonna
she
have
had to explain it to me like I was 5. And I was
because
like,
you didn't
that's
think
not,
anything of it. Yeah.
yeah, I said, that's
You
not what I was saying at all. All I was saying
oh
was,
my
like,
God.
and I said to her, I go, you are in fact a size 16 and you wear the size 14, 16. Would you rather I pretend you're a size 8 and and that you don't wear a size? I mean, I was just like, I was flummoxed. I was completely gobsmacked. I was like, what's going
Wow.
on? Am I a crazy person?
No, that's so interesting. That's so
Right.
funny. Don't you love the friendships that you can just call someone on? Because if you said
No,
that to
because
me and I
now I'm no longer friends with this person.
oh well no, but this is what I'm saying. Don't you wish that she was the type of person like probably if that were you and I would have just gone, what are you saying that I'm fat? I would have just and we would
Right?
have laughed about it. We would have laughed
I
about it. We would have
know.
talked about it. And then
People are so stupid.
oh God, write in, you guys. Tell us what you think. But the fact, okay, but it changes everything that she asked why you were getting rid of it. I mean, what are you going to say? You know?
I know.
Okay. All right. For the final one, am I the asshole for refusing to change my baby's name? I, a 26-year-old female, just gave birth to my daughter, Annabelle. I didn't announce it beforehand because in the past, one of my family members stole a baby name and it created a lot of drama. My mom wanted to know, but I was adamant on keeping it a secret. My mom and dad were in the room when I gave birth, and when it was time for me to sign the birth certificate, my mom asked for the name, and I told her Annabelle. Her face went pale, and my dad didn't look too happy, but he said he loved the name. My mom left a few minutes later claiming she didn't feel well. She said she'll come over in a few days to help with the baby. Now I'm at home with the baby, and my mom hasn't talked that much to me, and we used to talk every day, so I was confused by this sudden behavior. My sister Emily still lives with our mom, so I called her over to talk. And when she got to my house, she explained how she overheard dad and mom arguing because about 10 years ago, dad had an affair with a coworker named Annabelle. Mom hasn't been talking to him and he's been trying to get her to talk. Dad, realizing that Emily had come over to my house, decided to come over too. He asked me if there's any way that I can change Annabelle's name. I asked him why to see if he'd tell me the truth, and he did. He admitted to the affair. He begged mom not to leave him, and she stayed. This was back when he had the affair. But just hearing that name had always put her in a bad headspace, which is understandable. I told him I can't, and that Annabelle was the name of my husband's grandmother who helped raise him. My dad begged and pleaded for me to change it, saying mom was in the middle of packing her bags and heading to her sister's house. I told him I won't change her name and it means so much to me and my husband. He began to raise his voice and immediately my sister yelled back and told him to get the hell out. She told him not to stress me about a mess that he created. He left immediately. I'm not changing my baby's name, but I feel like this is tearing the family apart. Am I the asshole for not changing it and what should I do?
God, people are so dramatic. Tearing the family apart. I'm just dead with that.
Well,
Okay.
Joy, he had an affair.
Terrible.
I find this like, oh my God, imagine how the mother feels having to call and, hi, Annabelle. And it's the name of the mistress. That's like,
Okay, I just have to say that he's the one who had the affair and she's the one who forgave him and decided to stay with him. So she's got to get over it. Like that's the honest to God truth. And remember, if anything, maybe this is a perfect way for them to put this whole Annabelle situation behind them, as in accepting the baby. It's a fresh start. It's not like she went out of her way to pick a name that was like, it would be like Chelsea Clinton naming her baby Monica, I mean,
right.
come
Well,
on.
the girl doesn't know. And it's actually her husband's grandmother's name who raised him.
Exactly.
So that,
And the other thing is people need to just like get off their high horse. You know what? When our kids were little, my husband used to go through all the animals that he had ever had as pets before he get to the kids' names. And guess what? They don't hold it against him. He literally would go, Sonny, Sally, Howard, Lloyd, Chloe. And she'd be standing right next to him. And I'd be like, it's not like you have 10 other children with some other ladies. I go, you got one child and you've gone through 5 animals' names.
I love that so much.
I mean, and guess what? He harbors zero resentment that he remembers a dog and a cat that died years ago over her.
Well, this is your mother. It's so hard. It's my mother, and she's had her feelings hurt because, my dad had an affair, but I've got my husband.
She's got to get over it because what are you never going to forgive him for the rest of his life?
Well, and this is my
left him then.
Right. But this is my advice to the mother. Take this opportunity of this new human being, your granddaughter, and maybe that'll heal, like you mentioned earlier, maybe calling this your granddaughter, whom I'm sure you love, this name that has been so hurtful to you, let it be a healing because now you have this granddaughter and you can change that name in your psyche.
Also, what about giving the baby a nickname like Bell Bell or Annabella or Bella, and that way, or Anna, and that way you can like change the name And most little kids have nicknames anyway, right?
Yeah, well, I hope this girl, whoever this was that wrote in, um, lady, I should say, uh, is listening to our podcast. What do you think the chances are? And writes us in because I want to know what happened to her mom. Because in the middle of this, she was packing her bags. So I want to know what happened. It's not
Right.
funny. I want to know what happened.
She's packing her bags because she's going to look for Annabella and she's going to kill her. And then you and I will do an episode on it next week.
That's right. Well, that's all the questions I have, Joy. We've gone way past Elena time. What do you guys think on any of these?
Elena time.
Yeah.
Well, let me just tell you, if you are not an asshole after listening to this episode, then it's a real crime. But you know what else is a crime?
What's that, Joy?
That we are out of time.
We are way out of time. Even Callie's like piping in on this. Thank you for listening, everyone. And don't complicate your day. All creativity, commentary, and opinions in this podcast belong to Cheryl and Joy. Music composed and mixed by Gabe McKeon. Logo and merch managed by Cheryl Yamaguchi. Podcast editing, advertising, and social media managed by Joy McKeon. Legal representation provided by John Bojezic. Please like, subscribe, follow, and listen. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Audible.com, Amazon Music, YouTube, and iHeartRadio. And remember, you can find us on Instagram and TikTok, or you can email us at murderandeverythingelse@gmail.com.
Bye, fishes.